Yes, sir. Y'all, welcome to Band with y'all. It's about to be phenomenal. It's about to go down, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah.
That's the hardest job ever.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's hard.
Hold on, excuse me. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. Do me a favor, like, share, tag. Welcome to Band with y'all. Hope you had a phenomenal weekend, y'all. It's about to go down tonight. It's good. It's about to be crazy. It's about to be crazy. Yeah, I'm doing something that people ain't gonna do.
Yeah.
After today, probably won't get no preaching engagements and none of that. I don't care. Y'all don't invite me anyway, so I don't care.
Please.
Yes, you will. Wait, can I hear it again? Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? Y'all good?
Yes, all is well.
Good.
How was the weekend, man?
Great weekend.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That's all, huh? Pretty boring. All right.
Yeah. Well, I did. I went to your car this weekend. I saw some KFC coupons.
Why would you tell the people?
Really?
I saved them actually.
You really?
They was like $2 for $4.96. And I'm not gonna cap. I'm not gonna cap.
Where the proof at?
Y'all want me to pull it out?
Pull it out.
I ain't gonna cap.
Dog.
Y'all see the missing piece?
Dog.
You use one, bro.
Dog.
You use one, bro.
You went to Des, you went to KFC, dog?
I found this in your car.
Let me see this, man.
The betrayal. On America's internet.
No. Hey, yo. Hey.
I really want y'all to see.
No. She was hungry. She didn't even do a straight. She had that lady that.
You be real
KFC coupon.
You be like, dang, I ain't got no silver.
She texts wild, boy.
Y'all, this is unbelievable.
I just couldn't believe my eyes. Like when I saw that coupon.
But look, Chris, look, we gotta give it to her. She lost 52 pounds. 52 pounds.
Dang.
In how long?
8 months, give or take.
52 pounds in 8 months.
Yeah, you deserve
You deserve some KFC, dog.
You deserve a 2-piece.
Hey, show your love.
You deserve a 2-piece. You deserve a 2-piece.
I enjoyed that KFC.
You should have.
Yeah, you
I didn't know people still go there.
Yeah, I do. I haven't seen a KFC in so long.
Yeah, I don't even live in a neighborhood where KFC is.
I don't live in the uppity places.
You still in the hood, my nigga.
Just a little.
It's time to get out. Because where we live,
it's time to go.
You won't be able to find no KFC. You're gonna have to go somewhere far.
Yeah.
It's time to go. It's time to be seated in heavenly places.
Yes.
You got to get up out of there. All right, y'all. Let's go to commercial. Let's make some money. All right, y'all. Special guest tonight, y'all, Dr. Shane Perry. But before we do that, we got a few things we got to do. We got to do some of our regular segments, y'all. We've had some interesting events happen in the country, so we want to talk about that. But y'all, the infamous PK, Hood and Holy.
Yeah, what the P stand for on bandwidth? We can't say that. We gotta stay light.
Play a crystal.
See, get the sin out your heart.
No, I ain't say that.
Get the sin out your heart.
Okay.
Think of nothing else.
What would you do, Chris? Talk to us.
Okay, so this is the What Would You Do segment, and this segment is called Fat and Fabulous. I'm a 32-year-old woman, and I'm a very successful VP of a company. I've married once, and it was horrible. But since then, I must say I've been enjoying and loving life. My ex and I ended things badly, and I told myself I would never date again. Well, never say never. I recently met an amazing man at work. Tall, athletic, sexy, and kind, and I mean athletic. We've been dating for 9 months, and it's been amazing. We've done so many things, but mostly eat. He knows I love to eat. Although he's into fitness, he's always down to eat and enjoy food with me. My ex told me because I'm 413 pounds, I will never date a quality man again. Well, I've proved him wrong. Recently, my new man hinted at taking things to the next level. He told me he planned a nice dinner, so I needed to get ready. Well, you know how I
She
do.
ready.
I got all dressed up for dinner, and I was expecting a proposal. When we got settled at dinner, he started asking a few questions, like what type of wife do I plan to be? How do I plan to be sexy all the time? But the last one, it did get me just a little bit. He asked, how do I plan to lose weight because 413 pounds is just too big? My jaw dropped. I mean, I do love to eat. It's my favorite thing. But why date me and eat with me if you had a problem with my weight? I was fine enough to get him. So I just don't understand. I walked out and left him at dinner. I was super offended. He's been calling and texting saying I should think about keeping him happy as a man because he keeps me happy. I'm fat and fabulous, but I don't know. What would you do?
Weight Watchers.
I mean, I see her confusion. You know, I always gotta judge. You know,
He is a little
he
wrong.
pursued her 9 months. You've been dating her, and now you're gonna take her out to dinner, ask about being a wife, and then address the weight. But you've been taking her to eat all the dates.
Y'all see this is here it is, y'all. This is
Now she too big now.
yeah. See, this is what y'all don't.
412 is crazy.
Listen to me, man. This is where y'all get jacked up, and I understand what y'all saying. I get it because you can
Help us.
you can feel like you're led on, but whether a man is into you for real or just wants to have sex with you. I don't care if he's a Christian man, a Buddhist man, a Hinduist man. I don't care what he is.
As long as he a man.
If he a man, I mean a real one.
Yeah.
If he's a man, I don't care at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day and at the middle of the day,
All of the
on
days.
lunch, breakfast, dinner, snack time, a man is drawn by what he sees. He needs to be attracted to you.
Yeah.
And so what we see here is a man that really wanted to be with a woman. That's
Yeah.
why he dated her. That's why he went out. He's
Yeah.
trying to show her, I love you for you.
Yeah.
But now that we're together officially, if I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with you, two things here. I don't like your weight. I love you. I don't like your weight. Number two, if you don't lose weight, you're gonna die.
You gonna die. That's good. Yeah.
We need to understand that.
Yeah.
All right. And then we need to have a real serious conversation about obesity in America. I think America is number 7 in the world or number 10 in the world of highest obesity. Number 17, something like that.
Yeah.
We got to have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
So 400 pounds, dog, you're on your way out of here.
Yeah.
And it ain't because God need a flower.
Yeah. Fat and fabulous. You stop saying it.
Yeah, that you're not fat and fabulous, doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So lose the weight for your man.
Yeah, go ahead and do
Woman
it.
of God.
Yeah, if you found a man that loves you for you,
Yeah.
go ahead and lose weight. Do that. I'm telling you, man,
And he was
y'all.
willing to have a proposal conversation. So
Yeah, come on,
he was
dog.
willing to have the
Compromise a little,
conversation. Yeah,
compromise.
compromise. Yeah, and if he in the fitness, he could be your trainer.
That's all I'm saying. You love
It's
a man that could
perspective.
listen.
Okay, I'm going too far.
Especially if you found out that he likes you for real,
Yeah.
lose the weight for him. Because here's what's gonna happen. If you don't, Mr. Trainer is gonna come. He gonna come home to you every day,
Yeah.
but he gonna be smashing somebody else that looks attractive. Try it if you want to now.
Don't play with it.
All right, y'all. Chris, thank you for what you do. Let's do our taste test for a minute, y'all. What we got here, Shakira? You gonna tell us?
Well, essential.
Essential
Hydro Boost.
All right, Shakira ain't on the mic today, so it's the essential.
Essential.
It's nice essential. I don't know L in it. It's essential hydro boost.
Supercharged hydration.
30
All right.
calories.
It's for people that's
30
interested.
calories?
That's people that's interested in healthy stuff.
I have raspberry pomegranate.
I
Peach
have.
mango.
I have.
You got
How y'all
peach
get the
mango
same
too.
flavor? You wanted to
My
try
flavor ain't on
twins.
here.
Yes,
It's at the bottom.
It's at the top.
Oh, it's at the top.
Mine
Oh, yeah,
said my flavor is enhanced water beverage. Oh, my bad. Peach mango. I'm sorry.
So what? Man,
It caught you mid-sentence.
Yeah.
no. This tastes like
Yeah, this is.
y'all. This tastes like
Dang, I kind of like it.
What's the medicine that nobody like to take?
This is what you give your dog if you run out of water.
Yeah.
Yo, dog.
Yeah, so they can have some electrolytes.
Yeah, this what you give your dog if you run out of water.
I'm about to go. Give your
Don't
dog
get it
this
today.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get it today.
Yeah.
Y'all, this tastes like Robitussin. This
Yeah.
flavor.
This what I'm giving my rocks when I don't have when if my water get cut off. I'm gonna give them this.
They'll be good. Yeah, this is
like
disgusting.
it.
I'm sorry, people. Don't buy this. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you, Shakira, for nothing. It's questionable, y'all. Dash, holla at us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
Tell us what happened.
You in trouble.
Tell us what happened.
It's a new position open.
Yep.
Go ahead, tell us what's been going on in the world.
Tell us what happened.
Give us an update since you called me asked about my segment.
Yeah, I want to know about President Trump.
well, it's time for It's Questionable. The segment that
Tell us.
it's been an eventful week for our former president, Donald Trump.
Yep.
He did have a rally this week where he was grazed by a bullet at the ear.
So he was grazed,
Yeah, allegedly.
allegedly.
Yes.
All right, he was grazed, so that's where the blood came from.
Yes.
All right, so that means someone took a shot at him and missed.
Yes.
All right.
There was a sniper that was caught. He was actually deceased on the scene shortly after the bullets flew.
Right.
And he donated $15 to a Democratic campaign, but he was registered as a Republican.
So I heard about that. I'm saying,
Yeah.
help me understand that. I don't understand that.
I don't know why they gave us that detail.
Yeah,
I
what-
think it was just to give us some perspective about who he was. But $15 isn't enough to address. That wasn't a real donation.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Maybe they were saying that he was wishy-washy in his political stance.
yeah, I didn't understand why that was significant. If you're watching and you know why that particular portion was significant, then I would love to hear that. But I didn't understand why that was significant.
Yeah.
Now he's 20 years old. All right, and
That's young.
very young.
This
20
kind of
20.
reminded me of an episode of Scandal a little bit.
What you mean?
Like, I'm not really sure if this was
I
a
remember
legitimate
that.
event.
All right, so that's what I'm.
That's the questionable
Yeah,
part.
that's the question part. Do you think this was? I'm asking you. Do you think this was staged for? Now hear me. This is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is this. After the debate, we saw that it was a horrible debate.
Yeah.
All right. But we also saw President Biden, we saw his frailty. All right. Then we see this event. Everyone's going to be sentimental concerning, hey, they just tried to kill former president. But that's not what got me. What got me is when after Secret Service did a human shield, this man came out of that shield with fight. Fight.
Yeah, that one of people
I
right
said fight. And then,
He secured
but watch
the
this now.
blood
And
running
blood
down.
is running down your
That's
face.
like Warrior
Come
Zone,
on,
man.
dog.
I ain't gonna
That's some brave heart.
That right
That
there.
man is willing to fight for the
That's some brave heart.
The blood sent me like, oh,
I want y'all to know that when I was driving here,
Hey, did y'all see what 50 Cent did?
No.
50
put
Cent,
his face on the
50 Cent,
Oh.
man, yeah,
Yeah.
I said,
That man
this
part of G Unit.
This man, I said this man has won.
Yeah,
It's
that
over.
was it.
I
That
want
was
He
y'all
won.
to know that when I was on my way here, that picture like this is on a billboard.
Stop.
wow.
They didn't waste any time.
Wow.
It don't hear me, y'all. It does not matter what you think about President Trump, what you think about Biden. This situation,
This situation.
unless something happens,
Yeah.
this man is the president.
Election
Yeah, I'm
secured.
not. Yeah, that right there, the photo alone.
Yeah, what? Y'all,
The
I said that.
situation, but the photo
I watched
alone.
that. I watched that video. This man came out of this. Listen, no. This is what got me. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't when he said, "Where's my shoe?"
Oh my.
When they were Secret Service, he said, "Where's my shoe?" After that, He came out of that with his fist pumped. I said, this man is a soldier.
Wow. He also announced his VP today.
He did do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the senator
I don't know
Ohio.
much about him, so
Yeah,
we'll talk about
I
him
don't
next when Dr. Courtney comes. We'll figure
Yeah.
that out. But yeah, man. So do you
Yeah.
think it's conspiracy? Do you think this is a legitimate
Someone
situation?
died.
I
Yeah.
absolutely think it was staged. I think that young man, he was probably impressionable and he thought he was doing something honorable for his country. They got him real good. Now he did. But yeah, I do think
You
it
know,
was
I think, hear
a
me.
scandal episode.
I think the real hero is the man that unfortunately got killed,
Yeah.
but he took his body and protected his family.
He
Yeah.
was a firefighter.
He's a firefighter.
Yeah.
That's the real hero. I hear me when we talk about violence, assassination attempts, all these things. These things are very, very serious matters. Beyond former President Trump, when a man protects his family like that, that's the real hero right
That's the
there.
real hero.
So
Yeah. That's
let's
it.
just honor that man that lost his life protecting his family. All right, y'all, let's go to commercial. Next, y'all, we have an interview, exclusive interview with Dr. Shane Perry. It's about to go down, y'all. Look, everybody, I need you to do me a favor. I'm trying to get rich and famous. Trying to get rich. Do me a favor. Leave a review. If this is your favorite podcast, which I know it is. I need you to go. It's at the bottom there, somewhere around the left or right, and leave a review. I don't care if it's good, bad. I don't care if it's negative. Say something, please. Then, so you can always be notified that I am live, press the subscribe button now. We're trying to make money out here so we can continue to give you some great content. I love you so much, and I know you love me too. Press the subscribe button. Let's make some money. Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in, y'all. Listen, y'all, we have the Dr. Shane Perry. He has taken over Instagram, y'all, the last 7 days. He has taken over the internet. He has ruffled feathers. He has, I mean, this is a genius man, a phenomenal thinker, a phenomenal gift. And he has, 15 years ago, I saw him preach on major platforms. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it tonight, y'all. But I want y'all to show your love. Put in the comments, say welcome to Bandwidth. Y'all show your love for Dr. Shane Perry. Dr. Shane, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, man. Can you hear me?
Man, thank you. First of all, thank you for allowing us to interview you. Thank you for being on the platform. I really appreciate you, sir.
Man, please let me run that back to you. So what I need your people to know, is my sound okay?
Yes, sir.
What I need your people to know is I had several people that I was going to do the interview with, and we talked about it. And one of them famously, I had to go off on him online. We'll talk about that. But I want to say this from the beginning. First of all, I respect your father tremendously.
Thank you, sir.
And vicariously, I respected you. But once I was exposed to your ministry and your people, so you showed up at a church in Atlanta, I'm not going to mention the person. Let me get my headphones on. I got an echo.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. If I can find them.
No, you're good, sir. You're good. Yeah, y'all, Encounter, we were in the same room some months ago. How long ago was it, y'all? A year or so?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Yeah, we were in the same room. We had to minister at a particular church, and people didn't even know who that was. But I knew who it was. I was sitting there in front of the Shane Perry preaching, and I was blown away. So keep going, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to say that once I was exposed to your ministry and your people, because I always look at a person's church, like the culture of their church, and your people, can you hear me okay? Did I lose you?
No, sir, I got you.
Okay. But your people were so kind and loving and, excited. It's just a good vibe. And as a reflection of you. And then when you preached, your articulation, your spirituality, your gift, it just blew me away. But the reason why I did the interview with you is because you're a very real person. I knew I could express myself in a certain way, and you were willing to put your money on it. So I want people to know you paid me to be here.
Yes, sir.
I have a really bad echo, man. It's making me hard. It's hard for me to hear. How do I sound now?
On this side, you
I think
sound
I'm
great.
good now. It just cleared
Okay.
up, so we're good.
Okay.
All right, so
Got you.
where you want to start, my friend? I just want to let everybody know, and then I'm going to do something with or without your permission. I'm going to make sure people bless you today because you blessed me to do this show. So I'm going to do that whether you let me do it or not. Sound like a
Man, I
plan?
appreciate you, sir. So,
All right, let's
I
go.
got to ask you this. So, for people that don't know you, you talked a lot. What you've been talking about online is the Army being, you have a heart for veterans. Could you tell us who you are? Tell us about how you started in the Army and then how you
Okay.
transitioned into education and ministry.
Yeah. Well, I actually started in ministry.
Okay.
Yeah, so I accepted my call when I was 19. And I was a member of actually my experience, my spiritual experience, I equated it to salvation then, but I know better now. But my spiritual experience, August the 3rd, 1994, I was, a member of a white Baptist church. I barely even knew any black people. I went to school with like 3 black people. So, but God just exposed me to a 3,000 member Kojic church in Birmingham and a tent revival. I didn't even know they had a multi-million-dollar church. They was out in the tent just going hard like churching in the 90s, which is different. And I just fell in love and God spoke to me because I was struggling with leaving my family church because my grandfather built that church, although it was a small church. And it was dead as a doornail. And I don't like anything dead. I like fire, lively.
Yeah.
And God said, if you join this church, I'll take you all over the world. Now, I didn't know anything about Kojic. I didn't know it was the largest black Pentecostal denomination in the world. And I just ingratiated myself in church culture. And, I was exposed to some of the greatest preachers in the world at my church. And my own bishop, he's just a brilliant man. He's a phenomenal preacher, but his mind, that's what really attracted me to his gift. And a lot of times I'll say things and I hear his voice like speaking through me. That's how much of an impact. He took me in at 19 and treated me like a son. Now, I'm not mentioning him for a reason, and I'm going to tell you why. He was cleared on the charges, but he got indicted by a grand jury for messing with a minor. So the way I am, you can mess up with me and I'll cover you, right? But if it's innocent people, I can't do it. If you mess with children, I can't do it. If you mess with the elderly, I can't get with it. Or if you mess with the disabled, I can't get with it.
Yeah.
But that's how I started there. And then out of that, I'm the kind of person, I'm rebellious by nature. And a lot of people have a problem with people who talk that way. But you have to understand, it's rebellion that brings change. I'll give you an example. The Protestant church as a whole is a group of rebels. That's all they are. That's all we are. If you're Protestant, you're a rebel. The original church is the Catholic Church. It means universal. You're never going to see a denomination of Catholicism. It's one church. There is no denominations. They're all on the same. I'm not saying I agree with them, but you got to give it to them. They've been kicking ass for thousands of years, over 2,000 years, and they're still unified, even through all the crap they've been through.
Yeah.
We, on the other hand, Martin Luther, did the thesis, nailed it to the wall, and that started he was protesting, and that's what Protestant comes from, protest. So when people get at me about order and spiritual authority and all this stuff, I'm like, how many denominations have you been a part of? How many names can we get on the church? Third Baptist, Pentecostals, Rising Church, and they always put international on it. Can't even affect their local community, but it's always an international ministry. But I digress. So I joined the Army out of rebellion. I was so ingratiated in the church, and I still was when I left. But I don't know. I felt something telling me I was stuck in Birmingham, where I'm from originally. And so when I joined the military, I went to Germany. It was my first duty station, California. I did my first combat tour in Kosovo. which I have tatted on me. I'll explain this tattoo later because it has the Muslim symbol. So everybody thinks I'm Muslim now, but I'm definitely not Muslim. There's a reason why I have that tat. So that's kind of how it went. And then when I was in the Army, I made up in my mind that I would never work for another person a day in my life. And I just started reading success books. 7 Principles of Highly Effective People or 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I mean, it was just a pantheon of books that I read, and most of them dealt with real estate. So I knew that the real true wealth would be in real estate. A lot of people don't know real estate, royal establishment in the Latin. So a king owns the land and people pay him tribute to live on his property. So a real king, a real person of royalty, which we say we're kings and priests of the Most High, you got to own something. You should own multiple things. You got to own a piece of the earth to really take on that title. So I started, doing stuff like that, but I got deep into ministry. And most people don't know this. Before I did any of this, I was a musician. I started playing guitar when I was like 7 years old. I was in a band by the time I was 13. I can't sing that well now. I mean, you can see some of my preaching clips on my height, but back then my voice was golden, especially before puberty. And then guitar, write music, and I was in a band. So I've always kind of been a creative, but it just, so I focused on ministry when I got out, and I threw myself into it. And see, what people don't realize, I've been getting hate on from day one, because when you start out being a white guy in an all black environment, especially church culture, people are usually pretty accepting and nice. Most non-European people are pretty open to other cultures. But what's happened in American culture, especially as of late, and for good reason, black people have gotten a lot more sensitive than they were when I came into the black church. So it's become a little more difficult to move in those environments in the church world because people try to be so politically correct. And
Dr. Perry, let me ask you this question. Because you said that, could you tell us how you got your big break? I remember how when I saw you for the very first time, it was, and I'm gonna let you share
Sure.
it and talk about it. But when I saw you for the very first time, it was on the stage of one of the most phenomenal, famous bishops in the world. How did you get your first break? So let us know about that.
Which one was it? I've been on a lot of famous bishop
And that's
platforms.
for me. I saw you on Bishop Jakes's platform. That's the first time I saw you.
Okay, well, my big break came about 15 years before that.
Okay.
So my big break was when I preached in the International Holy Convocation for the Church of God in Christ, which is the dream of every Kojic preacher. So you have to understand, I'm a vision guy. So a lot of people don't know this. The world is overmanaged and underled. So we got a lot of managers, but we don't have leaders. So managers, we think managers are leaders, but they're not. Managers just do payroll and make sure everybody's in the right place. Leaders don't do that. The primary job of a leader is to see the future. Secondarily, John Maxwell said that you must have the power of influence. So when I deal with leadership, I'm being a little lengthy with my answer, I apologize. But when I deal with what happened on that day, you have to understand the vision that I had in the beginning. And I watched it all come to pass exactly as I wrote it out. And I don't want to get off track. Let's just stick on the subject. So I read a book called The Millionaire Course by James Allen. He owns World Publishing Books. But his most popular book, he published Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. If you've read that book, that was one of Oprah's book club books. But anyway, most successful author. Anyway, I read that book, The Millionaire Course. It's actually more of a spiritual book than it is a finance book, but it's all about vision. And so I followed that pattern and it worked. Like literally, I was homeless the year I read that. And when I read that book, it's crazy because I only had money for books. So I went into the bookstore and that book was actually off the shelf. It was like talking to me. And when I did it, the first thing that happened, I went from being homeless to moving into $1 million house free and clear. A man gave it to me. So, and then that in my vision, I also had preaching in the convocation and I had people leading up to that. So every person I had in the vision came into my life
which eventually opened up the door for me to preach in the convocation. So I preached the last one in Memphis, and then they moved it to St. Louis. I preached the first one in St. Louis. So I preached them back to back. But it was that first one that set the world on fire. If you ever go back and look at that clip, I still get speaking requests from that clip back in 2009. That's how powerful it was.
So you've been all over the world. You've preached on major platforms. Here's the question: what from there, preaching in church, serving Jesus? I mean, you're churched. Church.
Yeah, absolutely.
Serving Jesus. What we've seen on the internet the last 7 days. What happened? I mean, you said that you don't believe in Jesus. The Bible's a book of fairy tales.
Yeah.
What happened to lead to this?
It's called education. So, first of all, from the very moment I started going to church, I knew that I was willfully laying down my common sense. I already knew it. But I did it because I loved God, I loved Jesus, I loved church, and I loved ministry. I loved it with a passion. But in the back of my mind, my own Christian salvation, I questioned it because, so I'm gonna get you there. I get a little wordy, so you gotta keep me on track.
Gotcha.
But we gotta back it up.
Yes,
So
sir.
when I got quote unquote saved, right, I was in the bathroom of my job. I was getting ready to go to college and I was working a night job. And so, back then I was, partying all the time, whatever. And I wanted to get out of that environment. So I took on a night shift job. Well, you already know you either deal with your shit or it's going to meet you there. So I fell right back into the same pattern. So I finally had it. August the 3rd, 1994. I went into the bathroom of my job, and this is exactly how it happened. I looked in the mirror, and God said to me, what I discerned as God, do you want to be this person? I looked at myself, man. I was angry, hurt. I mean, I just was a mess. And I said, no, this is not who I want to be. He said, give me your life. So I just gave him everything. I just ran down the list. I don't want to do this anymore. I just ran it all down. I never prayed this prayer of salvation. I was never on the altar. None of that stuff happened. So really, according to most Christians, I'm illegitimate because it didn't happen on the altar, which is bullshit. Because you can get saved anywhere. The thief on the cross got saved right before he died on the cross. So whatever. But my point is, from that moment, I still questioned it because I knew, what if I would have had that spiritual experience and I lived in India? I would have been a Hindu. Or if I lived in China, I would have gravitated, because it's culture, it's what you're raised in. And even when you deal with Black people in church, it's really a trip if you think about it, because really, I'm not saying, because Christianity is found in Africa pre slavery, of course,
Right.
but American Christianity, even this, when a person gets up and does this to leave service, you know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Slaves used to have to do this to leave the presence of the master.
Right.
So that culture is inbred. That's why you see like pastors celebrated as gods and stuff like that, and it's changing. So back to your point, it started with that. And then I didn't have really bad. I mean, we all get messed up in church, but that's a part of the process. It's sandpaper to make you grow. I would rather be hurt at home than be hurt in the world, or at least broken at home then I can deal with the world. It's really good for you, right? So it wasn't any of that. I wasn't hurt or anything like that. I just started educating myself, and
Okay, let me stop you right there, Dr. Perry. So I want to put that out there. You're saying you've not been hurt by the church.
Nope, not at all.
So what we're seeing is not because somebody hurt me. The church hurt me. None of that.
None of that.
This is education.
Education, man. So, I mean, here's the deal. Most seminaries all the professors are atheists. All of them. They're all atheists. And the reason why, now I would never be an atheist because just from a spiritual perspective, there's a part of me that knows that God is real. Like I can't deny it. And then just looking at nature, like there's no human that can create any of it. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I think it's stupid to be an atheist, but people can have their own choice. But most of them are atheists. And the reason why is because they study these spiritual texts and they find out it's all bullshit. So they go in like me, good Christian, holy, saved, sanctified people, And then when you go through seminary, the first thing they start doing is teaching you all the issues with the Bible. Now, I was already on top of that because I've been reading a book a week for 30 years. I just stopped doing it because I've learned enough. I'm going to impart what I know and I'm done. I've forgotten more than most of y'all know. So I'm good. But through that education, I was already on that time. I read some books by Bart D. Ehrman, and he breaks it down theologically. Like, there is no history of Jesus Christ. There is no empirical proof except for the Bible. Now, is it fair to base your religion off your own playbook? That's not fair. There should be some outside sources that can back up what you're saying. Most theologians and most historians believe that Jesus is a prototype of the Egyptian god Horus. If you do the read, I don't know it all, but there's a whole list. I posted it, but just a few things. Horus was born by a virgin, divinely born. He was there was no room in the inn for him. He worked miracles. He talked about the religious people of his day and saved the people, the regular people. He died on a cross, and he was resurrected on the third day, and he ascended into heaven. So most theologians agree that Jesus Christ is a prototype of Horus, and it's very, so it's that kind of stuff. And then when you start looking at mistranslations in the scripture, and I mean, I can give you mistranslations all day long. Like the psalmist said, "Beautiful for situation is Mount Zion." That word that word situation is actually elevation. It's mistranslated. It's elevation in the Hebrew, which changes the text. So he's saying beautiful for elevation. So the message is elevation from a bad situation. You see the context. But because we don't know the Greek and the Hebrew, the average church person doesn't study Greek and Hebrew. They don't study theology. They don't study history. They're what we call devotional believers. So pastors go to seminary. They learn the truth. Most of them, they learn the truth, but they come back home and they don't tell you what they learned because it messes with their money. And that's the real hustle. It messes with their money. Most pastors know exactly what I'm saying.
So when you talk about religion and your belief is no longer in Jesus Christ, that he's the Son of God, he's the Savior. So when did you start? Because you mentioned this on one of your lives. You said many people don't know y'all were inviting me and I had stopped believing in Jesus.
Absolutely.
So can you expound on, you were preaching all over the world in Protestant churches, not believing in Christ, but we were still inviting you.
Exactly. You want to know why?
Why?
Well, first of all, I'm an Aries, so I know church people don't deal with astrology, but I match it perfectly. I'm a March Aries, so I'm a, Aries are the leaders of the zodiac, but you have March and April. So a March April outranks an April's Aries. So we're leaders of leaders. So wait, what was your question again? I got off track.
Why?
Oh, engagements. I got you.
Yeah. So I guess my question is this. I guess my question is, you were not believing in Jesus for, I think you said 10 years, but we still invited you to the church. Yeah. How is it that we didn't discern that this preacher don't even believe in our Jesus?
It's because I'm smart as hell. That's why. So look, here's why I did it. I said I'm an Aries because one thing about us, we're very genuine. We're very authentic people. And that's what you're seeing now. I'm just bringing out the truth. I was hiding it from people, not because I'm shady, but because I knew this kind of shit was going to happen, that everybody was going to go crazy. So I waited until the police beat my ass 3 times and I got locked up in an insane asylum to finally say, when everybody turned their back on me when that was going down, I said, fuck everybody. And I'm going to show y'all who I really am. So here's how I did it. I was going to quit preaching when I stopped believing in Christ. I was going to quit because that doesn't sit with me right. But I knew that I could change it from the inside out. And my influence now, the way people are responding, lets me know that I was being effective. So here's what I would do. The message is still pure. It's still positive. I'm still using scripture, but I'm using colloquialisms from other spiritual books, and church people are finishing the statement and don't even know they're quoting Buddhist texts. Like, for example, I would get up and say, not tell them who it is. I would get up and say, have you ever heard the journey of 1,000 miles? And they would end it. They would finish the statement. They would say, begins with 1 step. Well, then I would say that's Lao Tzu from the ancient Buddhist text, the Tao Te Ching. And then the whole place would be like, but the point is you knew it and you use it in your everyday vernacular. But if somebody brings it to your attention, all of a sudden it's the devil. Like, okay, here's another one. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
That's Lao Tzu from the Tao Te Ching. But here's the rest of the verse. It says, when the student is really ready, then the teacher will disappear. Meaning that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's Lao Tzu. So my point is, we're quoting all this stuff anyway, but we're just not bringing it to light. And a lot of stuff we say we think is Bible. Like people say to me all the time, patience is a virtue. The Bible says patience is a virtue. First of all, I don't have patience and don't want patience because I get what I want when I want it, pretty much because I'm an impatient person. That statement does not come from the Bible. It's been misquoted as Aristotle. He didn't say it. It comes from a poem from the 1300s, and it doesn't say patience is a virtue. It's written in Old English. It's not even close to that statement. It's been twisted up. So we don't even know what the hell we believe. So when I deal with people, and the way I was able to do it is because I was still bringing light and I was still being positive, but it was weighing on me. And I eventually wanted to get out of it, but I heard God speak to me. And he said, I want you to change it from the inside out. So the last 15 years, I was trying to change the culture. Now, it's easier in a white Christian church because, and I'm not down on black people. I mean, I'm thankful that black people raised my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was able to take care of everything I took care of because black people love my ministry. Like, I am not putting black people down, but I've been in it for 30 years. I've been in Black Pentecostal church and I've just seen the mindset. And it's like to break that mindset is so difficult because it's cultural. I peeped out early on in the black church that and people gonna get heat for this, but it's true. A lot of people in the black church are there culturally. They've never had a spiritual experience for themselves. They're going because their mama went, their grandma, and that happens in white churches too. I'm not saying it doesn't happen with other people, but I found out it's a cultural thing because I would see the girl singing in the choir on Sunday, and then I'd see her out on Saturday, the next Saturday, drinking and partying. So I already knew it was on some bullshit because it's cultural a lot of times. So that's the way I was able to do it.
So do you see do you see a difference in religion in other religions? So for example, if you have a kid that's a Muslim, did they become Muslims because they had a spiritual experience or because that was passed down to them?
Generally speaking, now, of course, people have experiences that cross religions. You know, we know that happens. But generally speaking, people are going to follow the religion of their family, generally speaking. Like me, I equated it with Christianity because it's all I knew. I'm an American Christian. So I know Hindus that have had, but listen, all those religions are bullshit too. It's all bullshit. It's all BS. I'm telling you right now. So you know the oldest religion in the world is the Hindu religion, right?
Right.
It predates everything. So to me, I respect it the most because it means you were the closest to the beginning of time, which means you should know more about God because you were closer to the inception of man. And our connection to God was stronger and it's deteriorated over the years. So look, here's the problem with religion, particularly the church. I believe that the Christian church is the biggest cult in the world. And it's funny because other Christians call other Christians cults. You know, the LDS is a cult to the Pentecostals and the Jehovah's Witness is a cult. But the truth is we keep changing the rules. The only person that sticks to the same rules is the Catholic Church among Christians. It's the only pure Christian religion. I don't believe it, but it's the only thing that's like, here's what can happen, Gabriel. You could have a spiritual son, and let's say 20 years from now, he gets pissed off at you about something you believe. Well, he's going to go start a church that believes what he believes. So it becomes a cult of personality. And it's jacked up. And now let me say this. Most of the preachers I know, and this is from my heart, are really good people. Like, I got to give you your props, Gabriel. You're a cutting edge guy. You're like on the cusp of like everything that's going down in the Christian world. Like you're that dude, but you're a pure guy. Like, and I want people to know that. I knew that about you when I met you. You're not like me. I'm on some bullshit. Like you live this for real. And most of the pastors I know are like that. And that's another reason why I don't name names. Like you're not going to hear me up here like Bishop so-and-so did this or nah. Because really, most of those guys, except for a few idiots that ain't got nothing anyway, most of them took really good care of me, and they've been genuine friends to me. I just had a change in beliefs. That's all.
So you had a change in belief. So
Yeah.
one of the things that you mentioned that you wanted to talk about is what happened. You talked about on your live some maybe 5 days ago about how you were arrested and they beat you and they falsely accused you of public intoxication,
Man.
all of that. Tell us about that event that led up to where we are now.
Okay. So you asked me about the veteran thing, and I never got around to
Right.
it. So I'm a combat veteran. I'm a 100% disabled combat veteran. I have ratings of, I got like 7 different conditions that I'm rated for from combat. So when I never went to get my benefits because I was just making that much money. Like, I'm just being honest. I like to keep it real. I was just making that much money. Like, it didn't matter to me. I didn't realize it was I didn't realize how much money and benefits you got from it either. If I would have known, I would have already done it. So when COVID hit, well, hell, we all had to get a new strategy, right? So I
Yeah.
said, look, and my pastor from Germany, um, he did 29 years in the army. His son is the number 6 producer in the world and the number 5 songwriter in the world. His name's Booby. Aubrey Robinson's name's Booby. He is that dude. But anyway, his father was a pastor in Germany, my pastor. He did 29 years in the army. Then he did 20 years in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta with the VA. So for 20 years, he was trying to get me to run it. But I was a medic, so we don't keep records. Like, you can't really be sick if you're a medic back then in the army. You look like a sissy if you're sick. So we never went to sick call. We never had paperwork. But I had a lot of civilian paperwork from PTSD. So anyway, when I went to another soldier to get them to help me get my benefits, he ran a company. He wanted to charge me $10,000 up front. So I was like, wait a minute, y'all finessing soldiers. Like, nah. So I started a nonprofit and I started doing it for free. I got soldiers all over the world that I've gotten their benefits for. And the one thing about me, the reason why I got motivated, tatted on my neck, nobody puts energy on things the way I do. If I say I'm going to do something, you better believe not only am I going to blow it out the box and do more than you could ever imagine, but I'm going to do it faster. And the reason why I move fast is because Einstein said the speed of light is 187,000 miles per second, 500 million miles per hour. Einstein theorized that as you approach the speed of light, time slows down. Well, if you go beyond the speed of light, time is non-existent. So God is light. Every spiritual text says God is light. We know this. So he created it, which means he has to be moving faster than what he created, right? So God moves fast. He's moving faster than the speed of light. He's moving so fast, time doesn't even apply to him. That's the energy I'm trying to get on. While everybody else is sleeping, I'm moving and shaking because I'm trying to get on God's time. All right. That's what I'm on. So anyway, I started getting all these guys their benefits. So I said, look, I drained my accounts, man. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this shit for free with joy. And it just got to be too much. And I was doing it by myself. I was handling like 100 claims by myself. So, I started hiring people and I wanted to get outside funding. So I know 3 billionaires. The first billionaire I know, his name is Donald Watkins. My ex-wife ran 7 companies for him. Now he got busted by the feds, so I don't know if he's still on the billionaire status, but he's probably still sitting on about 500 mil. So I knew him from when I was in my 30s. The second billionaire I met was Alf Lukau. I got his flag in honor of him tatted on my arm. That's the flag of South Africa. He's out of Johannesburg, South Africa. He's an oil tycoon. He's a multi-billionaire, but he pastors a 20,000 member church in Johannesburg, but he doesn't take any money from the church. He barely even raises offerings because he's good. He just does it out of the kindness of his heart. That's another guy that I have. Then the third billionaire, he created, it's not Giveafly, but whatever the giving app was before Giveafly, the original one, he created it. And he's from New Zealand. He lives in Dallas now. Well, he sold that company, became a billionaire, and then he started another company called Tome, Tome. Well, he asked me through a contact of mine to come and do some shows for him on the app to be interviewed. And I did it for free. I didn't know he was a billionaire. Well, because I gave him that energy for free, he fell in love with me. So I was trying to parlay all of that. Now, I've got to set this up, so I hope you don't mind me taking a little
Go
time.
for it.
So I got a connection with the mayor of Atlanta. All right, this is how this happened. I got favor on my life. I don't care what anybody says. My mama would tell you I've always had favor on my life. That's how all this stuff happened. Vision and favor. But listen, here's a lesson for everybody out there. Favor, favor doesn't just happen because you think you're special. In the army, we say integrity is what you do when nobody's looking. So I believe when you have integrity, when you do things when nobody's looking, then God honors you with favor. He ain't giving favor to no sorry slime ball, lazy ass, scamming ass. You know what I'm saying? He's giving favor to people that are doing the work. And you know what I mean? So I always had favor in my life. So I was at the Douglasville Mall where I used to live, and I had one of my little shawties with me, as y'all say in Atlanta. In Birmingham, we call them Gov. So I had one of my Govs with me. And so if you're ever in Birmingham and you want to pull a Birmingham woman and you make them think you're from Birmingham, just say, "What's up, good?" Y'all say shawty, we say good. So anyway, so yeah, so I was with her and I was gonna buy her some perfume. Now she wasn't like on that level with me. So we went to Macy's for, like some $60 or $100 stuff. But anyway, she wasn't ready for that Clive Christian and that, that Baccarat. She wasn't ready for that yet. She ain't invested enough. So
Yeah.
anyway, when we went in, I'm just being silly, but it's true. She really wasn't worth it. No, I broke up with her because here's the thing. I told you about my energy. So when I'm in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or intimate relationship, I give 1,000%. But nobody can match my energy. So I just stopped dating because I'm sick of putting all this love in the atmosphere, and I can't even get none. Forget that. Oh, sorry, ladies. I forgot you had ladies there. So anyway, no, I can. But my point is, my basic needs. That was a joke. My basic needs are not being met. Like, I don't even require a lot. Like, I don't even require much. But I'm gonna give you more than you ever give me. So anyway, so this elderly lady comes on a scooter. She's 70 years old. And she says to me, she says, "Son, I'm trying to get some perfume, but I can't find anybody to help me." I said, "No problem, Mom. I got you." So one thing about me, like I told you, I always protect women. I always protect children. And I always protect the disabled and elderly people because that's what a real man does. He protects those that can't protect themselves. And so, particularly with elderly people, you've heard this. My grandmother was the first person to tell me this. She said, "Once a man, twice a child." So I honor that generation. So I went and got the lady for her. So she was smelling this perfume. She loved it. It was $120. She said, "Well, is it on sale?" She said, "No, ma'am, it's not on sale." I said, "Mama, it is on sale. It's called free." And I threw that American Express on the table on purpose and bought it for her, right? So when I gave it to her, she started crying. I'm a big old crybaby. I act tough, but I am a huge crybaby. She started crying. I start crying. The lower echelon girl starts crying. The girl behind the lady behind the counter starts crying. Yeah, I only deal with upper echelon women now. But anyway, she starts crying. And so the lady says to me, of course, "Why would you do this?" I said, "Because my grandmother raised me." So I'm sure that you have taken care of a young man, a son or a grandson, and I want to honor my grandmother through your sacrifice. So this 72-year-old woman says to me, "Son, are you on IG?" I said, "Mama, what do you know about IG?" So she started running off all this information about what's going on with the slime stuff and relationships with Cardi B. I'm like, she's up on everything. So we exchange it. I don't think much about it. That night I went to Pasha. So I'm at Pasha. I didn't post where I was. I'm just chilling. And the same girl is with me. We went from Pasha to Red Martini. People in Atlanta don't know what that is. We went to Red Martini. So Red Martini was dead, but while we're sitting there, I go to the bathroom. This dude walks up to me. he's got on Cartier glasses. He's got on a three-piece tailor-made suit. It was cold then. He's got on a camel hair, like London fog piece. And I peeped his Ferragamo shoes, right? So I knew this wasn't no street dude. He walks right up to me. He says, "Is your name Shane Perry?" So my first thought was, who's asking? But I was like, "Yeah, that's me. What's up?" He said, "Somebody sent me your IG." He said, "Man, you got the sauce. Like I haven't heard many people speak like you." He said, "But I got to tell you something." He said, "I don't tell people this because they already know, but you need to know." He said, "I am second in command behind the mayor of Atlanta, Mayor Andre Dickens. Now, all this has been verified. I mean, I hang out with this dude now, but he told me that for a reason. He said, man, that woman you bought that perfume in the mall for today was my mama. So I blessed his mama without even knowing. Also, her son is a 4-time starter at the University of Alabama, a 2-time national championship, a wide receiver. He just got drafted into the NFL. I didn't know any of this stuff. He hit me up from a block number or a number I didn't recognize. He said, that was my grandma. Get ready. You feel me? So that moment of favor knitted me with the mayor's department. So I put a meeting together, Skype, because my billionaire is in New Zealand, the one I had on the line. The other was in Africa, but I had the New Zealand guy. And I had the mayor, and the mayor's representative, his second in command, some other guys. Well, it was a great meeting. Now, of course, it's Atlanta, so we did the meeting in a strip club. But yeah, it was a great meeting. So after the meeting, I go out to the parking lot, and my man says to me, hey, Shane, you got to slow down. I was like, what do you mean? He said, man, you're making too many power moves in the city, and everybody's asking me who you are. I said, well, tell them I'm a fucking savage. Sorry, respecting your show. I said, tell them I'm a fucking savage, and I don't care. I'm doing this for veterans, so whatever. Well, from that moment, I started seeing what he was saying. It's like everybody in my area, I run Douglasville. I mean, I don't run, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm tight over there. Douglasville, Cobb County, I'm good. I'm good over there. That's my 2 spots. People started turning on me. And then, see, I make the cops do their job. So look, I'm the type person, I was raised, taught by a black man. I have black children. So I use white privilege to help black people. So what I do is I make the police do right, because I can talk to them like you can't talk to them. So a lot of times what would happen in my city, people would be parked in a handicap spot. Like one time in particular, another veteran, an elderly guy, I was going to pull in the spot. I got plates, but I saw he was older than me. So I deferred to him. When he pulled in, this dude from Coca-Cola was loading stuff in the gas station. He was blocking the handicap spot. So I got out and politely asked him, can you move the stuff? I'll even help you. He said, F you to me. I was like, you don't see those plates? You don't respect that me and this man and I put our life on the line? He said, F the Army and F you. So I got at him. Like, I was ready to beat his ass. But after some time, somebody called the cops. When the cops showed up, I told them what happened. They said, you're right. So they were going to go move him. Then the cop said, can I get your ID? I said, for what? Well, I got to write a report. I said, no, hell, you don't. I'm not going to get in your system. You're not writing a report on me. Ain't none of that happening. Just make the man move. It's the law. Or you got to charge him $500. That's what the sign says. So the other cop says, well, if you ain't going to give me your ID, then fuck you. And they went and got in the car. So this started happening with the police a lot, like stuff like this. My name kind of got out there. So they were out for me. And in Douglasville, y'all know Douglasville don't play. Anybody in Atlanta knows you don't speed through Douglasville. You don't drink and drive in Douglasville, because they on some BS. So this is what happened. And I'm going to try to I'm not going to give you all the details. I'm going to give you an overview, but you'll get the gist of what happened. I have a house, a 6-bedroom house, and I have a loft in the same neighborhood. It's called the Tributary. It's a high-end spot in Douglasville. So I'm selling my house. So I moved into the loft because it's furnished and it's nice. It's like Miami over there. So my part of the neighborhood is like family. That part of the neighborhood is like, having a good time. So I have a pool across the street from my main house, and I have a pool in my neighborhood where my loft is in the apartments. So I was having a pool party on whatever day that was. I had my kids there. Now listen, the party hadn't started. I don't drink a lot, but I definitely wasn't drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't smoked weed. I hadn't done anything. I'm waiting on the food. We're setting everything up. My kids are in the pool. Now this is on my property, right? Mm-hmm. So a former employee of mine showed up, and he was having like a mental moment. I had fired him. He was having a mental moment, but he had a gun. Well, he knows not to mess with me. If you got one gun, I got 10 on you, and probably that 50 cal up in the waiting on your ass. But I'm military. We do guns. So he knew better than that. But here's the problem. I was just letting him play his little moment out. But he went to my son, my 9-year-old son, and told him he was going to kill him and his dad today. So I took charge of the pool. I got everybody out. I put my kids in a safe place, and I called their mom to come get them. So I did not call the police because I hate the police, especially Douglasville. Can't stand them. I called an ambulance. So I told them, look, he's brandished a weapon. This is what he said to my kids. I don't want him to get arrested. He's having a mental moment. I'm trying to help him. Take him to a hospital, and then I'll send him to my doctor that works for my veterans, Dr. Akanusi, and we'll get him straight. So she was with it. So she said, I'm going to stay on the phone with you. I've already briefed the cop. When the cop showed up, he's a little pissant that I know that I've already checked him about 3 times. He's 32 years old. I'm 49. He talks to me like I'm a child. So as soon as he rolls up on the scene, I'm on the phone with 911. She told me she briefed him on everything. He rolls up and says, you get off the damn phone now. So I hung the phone up. I said, number one, young man, you 32 years old. I've been 32. You ain't never been 49. So don't come at me talking like that. I said, sit your little baby nuts down if you want to talk to me like that. That's how I talk to the cops. I said, now I'm about to tell you, first of all, I don't need you. This area is secure. I got guns on you right now. We're good. I said, we're secure. I said, all I need you to do is make sure that man walking around with that gun doesn't come over here to my family until the ambulance gets here. I said, in fact, you're so incompetent, I'll make sure he gets in the ambulance because I don't trust you not to arrest him. Well, 2 other cops pull up. They cancel the ambulance. He told me he canceled it. Why would you cancel an ambulance? And this dude is clearly walking around with a gun acting crazy. So I called him again on GP because I already knew they was about to screw with me. They canceled it again. I said, okay, they turned it on me. So that's what they did. They turned the whole thing on me. Now, I would not let them in the pool and arrest me until my children left. I negotiated the whole thing. And when I let them in, I discharged my weapon, put a safe distance around, and I made them sit down. And I told the older guy, I said, you're wrong because all these young men have disrespected me every time I've had an encounter with them. And it's your fault because you're the leader. You're an older guy. You're supposed to train them how to respect. That's how I talked to them. And I said, if any of them ever talk to me like that again, I'm going to get in their ass again. And I'm going to get in yours because you're not doing your job.
And,
Said,
Dr. Perry, when did this happen?
I don't remember, man. It's been like time in a mental institution is there's no clocks, there's no phone, there's no TV. You don't know. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know how long I've been in Puerto Rico. I've either been here 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. It was a Thursday, but it's all documented. I wrote it all down. I'm going to show you that. It's going to blow your mind.
So what do you say to people that saying that, oh, you're having a mental breakdown and all of that? What's your response to that?
I mean,
because you did mention about a doctor misdiagnosed you with bipolar disorder.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really PTSD.
Yeah, we can talk about that. So let me ask you, do I seem disheveled in any way? Do I seem mentally ill? Do I seem in any way?
Fine. You seem fine now. You seem fine. I personally think that I think this is what I've said over the last couple of days. I personally thought that you were pissed off and now you're in a rebellious state.
Oh yeah. No, not at all. So let's deal with that. So you have to understand something about me. I generally don't let people give me advice unless it's like you got to be like proven, like you have had to kill something multiple times and drug it to the table for me to trust you to speak into my life. Because even people that speak into my life, they can only say, and they know they can only say so much because the way my brain works, I'm 1,000 steps ahead of anybody that tries to give me advice. So when you start giving me advice, I'm way beyond that. Like what you're seeing is just what I'm showing you. So let me tell you what I did. I wasn't pissed at all. Now I was pissed at the cops. Don't get me wrong about that. But I don't express anger that way. What I do is I dismantle your company, then I redo it as a nonprofit, and then I hire you as my employee. That's what I do. That's the real G move. And I'm gonna do that to the mental institution because they're terrible over there. So this is what I did. I did a military tactic. So back in the day, we did boots on the ground, which is a military term. Basically, like if a fight went down, we're invading and we're putting soldiers on the ground. Well, when we went to Vietnam, we got our ass kicked in the jungle and we stopped doing that. So now what we do shock and awe campaigns. So Iraq war, shock and awe. Not Yugoslavia, but Afghanistan, shock and awe. What shock and awe is, the very first day we attack you, night we attack you, We drop so many bombs on you that you come out like this. You don't want to fight when we get done with you. So we don't have to put boots on the ground. So by the time we blow your whole city up, when we do put boots on the ground, now it's a peacekeeping effort. And the United States government, we're known for stealing people's resources. So this is what we do. Military is bullshit too. This is what we do. Most people in war will tell you at a certain point, they don't know what they're fighting for. But I'm going to tell you what they're fighting for. Money, just like anything else. Do you know it costs $25,000, or it's probably 40 now, but back in the day, it's $25,000 just to field dress a soldier, just for his gear. Now imagine a contractor doing that for 500,000 soldiers. You know what I'm saying? It's big money in war. So we go in, and so we stopped doing that. So what I did is a shock and awe campaign. So I wanted to let everybody know that I went through a traumatic experience, but I handled it. I know what to do. I know how to see. I don't want to get off topic, but I read a book once called A First Rate Madness, and you should read it. It talked about how every leader, every great historical leader of all time has some type of mental illness. Lincoln struggled with clinical depression. He had several suicide attempts. Dr. Martin Luther King, depression. Gandhi, depression. Kennedy, mania. Like, it's all documented. And that book breaks it down. And the reason why leaders with mental illness are better than other leaders is because we deal with chaos in our own brain. So when you put us in a chaotic situation, it's natural to us. So we're able to navigate. I tell people I'm a problem solver. That's why I make money, because I solve problems because of the way. So yes, I was misdiagnosed with bipolar 15 years ago.
So if you could sum up what is like from the tattoos to the,
well, we got to get there. So let's finish this. I was misdiagnosed with bipolar 15 years ago. I took all the medicine and I got worse. I don't even know how I was preaching back then. I couldn't even think straight. I was on 6 different medications. Then when I got with the VA, they were like, you don't even have any symptoms of bipolar. They misdiagnosed you. This is classic PTSD. So I started working on that. And then, of course, the only thing that really works for PTSD is documented is marijuana, cannabis. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You know, they just lowered cannabis from the same level as cocaine to a lower level, right? You know why they did that? They didn't do that for people on the street. They did it for soldiers, because what they're about to do is they're about to give soldiers a national card. And if you're rated with PTSD, you can have an ounce of weed on you at all times, because it's medicine. It's a treatment. That's about to happen. The federal government's about to do it. Now, I would blow your mind on how I was involved in that, which is why all this happened. Basically, I was doing deals around the country I was going to do with the government. We were working the deals to be able, see, it's a $1 million idea to get weed in the hands of every soldier. It's a $1 billion idea to go buy dispensaries all around the world where soldiers are and take the weed from my man at the pot farm and let the government pay for it and run it through my dispensary. That's $1 billion idea. So that's the kind of stuff I'm was working on that caused all this trouble. So we'll get to this. But what happened is, when they arrested me on public intoxication on my own property, which is not public, at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I said, give me a breathalyzer. Well, we don't do breathalyzers. I was like, yes, you do, because every time you pull me over and think I've been drinking, you give me a damn breathalyzer. I asked for 5 breathalyzers. They wouldn't do it. They processed me at the Douglasville City Jail. So I was dehydrated because I'd been out in the hot sun, setting everything up. So I asked for water. They said they don't have water. Well, that's a violation, human rights violation. They put me in a car in the garage, a cop car, and they forgot about me. And they didn't turn the air conditioning on. So it's 90 degrees outside, but inside that garage is even hotter. Car's off, no air. They left me in there for 30 minutes. When she gets back in the car, she's like, oh my God, I forgot you. I'm so sorry. I'm sweating. I'm hyperventilating. I'm dehydrated. And then I go into a panic attack because I don't know what's going on with my body. She pulls out of the garage, still on the police campus, opens up the door and lets me out. I'm handcuffed. I fall out on the curb, hyperventilating, everything. Next thing I know, 5 cops surround me. And they start saying, get your drunk ass up. See, they're spinning a narrative. You know what I'm saying? Get your drunk ass up. Get your drunk. So then they start beating the hell out of me. So they busted my head. I actually got a picture of that because I got my phone while I was in the emergency room for like 10 seconds, and I took all those pictures. They busted my head open, my arm, they almost pulled my shoulder out of socket. I had torn ligaments. I still have pain. My back is still in pain to this day. They beat the hell out of me, but I was still talking shit to them while they were beating me up. Because one of the cops said something like, "Get your drunk ass up." I said, "I'm not drunk, you plebe." He said, "What's a plebe?" I said, "A plebe is the lowest ranking soldier in the Roman army." I said, "I'm a general. I don't even talk to plebes." Like, that's how I was talking to him while I'm hyperventilating. So I just closed my eyes at a certain point. I'm getting my ass beat. I'm handcuffed. All of a sudden it stops. I open up my eyes, and this white lieutenant, he said, "I just pulled up on the scene. I didn't know what was going on, but I saw my officers assaulting you. I dismissed them all. I know who you are, and I know what you do for veterans." And he started telling me about his family, Army heritage. He said, "Listen, I know you're very dehydrated. You're beat up. I'm not going to wait on the ambulance. I'm going to have my officer take you to the hospital." It was the same officer that left me in the thing, but he didn't know that, and I was in a place in my head where I wasn't going to tell him that, or didn't think to tell him that. So when we get there, I'm still dehydrated, hyperventilating, all that, panic attack, all that. And I asked for a wheelchair. Well, this lady, cop, parks approximately 100 feet away in 90-degree weather and makes me walk handcuffed to the front door. We're at Douglasville Wellstar. When I get to the front door, she has to get on the phone to call me in. Well, it takes like 30 minutes. I passed out. When I passed out, they threw water on me and drugged me into the foyer area of the hospital and left me on the floor. I laid on the floor for approximately an hour begging for an IV. They wouldn't open the doors. Nobody would respond. So eventually I said, "Okay, this is my exact words. Please forgive me on your platform." But I said, "You motherfuckers will let me die today. I'm going to take my own life into my hands." So what I did, I turned notifications off. Why am I getting notifications? So anyway, must not have did it right. Do not disturb. But anyway, so I got up handcuffed, and I saw the handicap thing that opens the door. I punched it with my elbow, and I started running down the hallway. The two cops grabbed me on each side. Now listen, Gabriel, I have always been able to beat people's ass. It's not a flex. I can freaking fight. I fought two people at one time, multiple times in one. Now, I've been beat up before, but for the most part, I can whoop some ass. But I'm older. I haven't fought in like 15 years. So I didn't know old man strength was real. I'm 49, bro. I drugged them two cops all the way down the hallway. So when I got to the nursing station, I started yelling out, "I'm a combat special forces medic." I said, "I need an IV. If you unhandcuff me, I'll run it myself." And so the nurse started getting the stuff together. She saw I was in distress. Out of the corner of my right eye, 4 security guards from the hospital are running full speed at me. So Gabriel, your boy is a savage. I picked the two cops up. I can't wait for this video footage to come out. I can't wait. I picked the two cops up on my back, and I jump up in the air, and I land on all 4 of the security guards with the two cops behind me. Now I got 6 people on the ground, 6 grown men on the ground behind me, and I'm handcuffed. I start headbutting all of them, right? The main guy grabs me by the throat because the only way he could stop me, and he choked me till I passed out. Well, you know a chokehold is illegal, right. So I got him on that too. So when I woke up, I was in the psych ward of the emergency room. I was dressed down. Now, check this out. They ran my blood at the hospital. So one of my friends, they didn't know I was in the hospital. They thought I was at Douglasville jail. So they called the jail to bond me out, and they said, "Oh, his blood work came back negative for alcohol. We dropped the charges." So everything that happens from here on out, I'm being held illegally because I was never charged for a crime. So once again, I stayed. Now I'm unhandcuffed, but I'm in a room, but the door is open. I stay in there for 2 hours. Nobody runs an IV on me. So I get up because you're going to let me die. I get up. I said, "Listen, I told you I'll run the damn IV myself. I've been here for 5 hours and I still don't have an IV. I'm beat up and no IV." This young security guard jumps me from behind. I busted my head open again. I got pictures of it. While I'm on the ground, he's punching me, talking about, "I got you, old man." Well, I'm a championship wrestler. So I did a move, flipped him. I said, "Watch the reversal, young man." I did, flipped him, and I put him in a cradle. When you put somebody in a cradle and you roll them back, it affects their diaphragm. So he couldn't breathe. So he started crying like a little bitch. Now, I can't breathe. I said, yeah, you was breathing good when you was talking shit, right? Then the other security guards jumped me again, put me in a chokehold. I passed out. When I woke up, I was strapped to the bed now. And I started seeing them drawing up medicines like needles. So I knew what they was about to do. So I told them, I'm refusing all medications. So whatever you do is not under my permission. Well, they was ignoring that anyway. They shot me with something. I went to sleep. When I woke up, I was being processed in a mental institution. I was there for 3 hours. In the processing, it was hot. The air conditioning is terrible in there. There was feces all in the bathroom. There was trash all over the place. There was roaches everywhere. And after I sat in there for 3 hours, I called the manager out. His name was Brandon. I said, bruh, I stay in the Ritz-Carlton in the Waldorf Astoria. This is some Motel 6 bullshit. I am not staying here. He said, you know what? You're right. He said, the only way you're going to get out of here, you got to pretend like you're hurt. Well, that became the playbook for me, right? So he said, you got to fall out or something when I come back. I said, no problem. He came back. I fell out. He called an ambulance. They took me to the hospital. I went to Cobb Wellstar. Now, they did not assault me there, but they treated me like a subhuman. So when they started doing that, I started playing military mind games on them. Before the night was over, I was running the whole damn floor. I was making phone calls and everything. That's what I do. I changed the environment to work for me. So when I got out of there, and never go to never go to Cobb Wellstar. That's the most ghetto place I've ever been in my life. It's terribly run. So I went back to the institution after that. I am a vegan. They did not feed me a vegan protein or any vegan food for the whole 5 days I was in there. So they starved me. I went in at 225. I came out at 199. That's from stress and from not eating and not sleeping. I only slept 1 hour in 5 days. Believe that if you want to. I napped a little bit, but I only slept really for 1 hour because I was in soldier mode. Now, without belaboring the point, I finally got over to the ward. I took charge. Now, listen, my first name, I'm not going to tell you. I don't go by my first name. But if it's legal or medical, people call me by my first name. So they didn't know who I was because they were not calling me Shane. So I peeped that out. I was like, oh. And I started telling them who I was, but you start sounding even more crazy, right? You start telling people you stood on a stage in front of 20,000 people and you have 4 published books and you're in an insane asylum. Yeah, you're not helping your case. But I started telling them, oh, call me Shane. That was the start of it. Then I was like, I got in with some of the nurses, talking to them. I was like, check me out on Instagram. So they start figuring out, whoa, this dude is somebody. So they got scared of me. They literally said that. They moved me to the really crazy floor. At first, I was on the floor with like depressed people. Bro, they moved me to a ward where people were drooling, couldn't talk, shuffling around. I mean, these people are legitimately crazy. Long story short, when I got over there, I knew I had to get the hell out. Now, it's all mind games because the longer they keep you, the more money they make. Now, the key thing that I did is I never took medicine because they had everybody drugged in there. I wouldn't take it. And then I was severely injured. They were trying to give me pain medicine. I wouldn't take shit while I was in there because you had to have your wits about you. That's how they keep you in there. So I found one guy, and I know this is a long story, but I found one guy. He was a Chinese dude, right? But I clocked him because he was shuffling around, drooling, but I was listening to him. He was highly intelligent. Also, he had on a tailor-made shirt with his name on the cufflinks, on the car. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And then he had on a Burberry suit. I'm like, this dude ain't no average cat. So I stayed up with him all night. He was just like drug-induced pissed all night. But I kept hearing this intelligence. So finally, I started speaking so much life to him. He's Chinese. He started calling me his sensei, which is a high honor in that culture. But that's how I was talking to him. So the first thing I told him was stop taking the medicine. So he did. After 2 days of not taking the medicine, that dude woke up. When he woke up, he helped me devise all this to get out. Now, I got him out too. But the main key that you need to know is I faked injuries 4 different times, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to the hospital 4 different times. When I'm at the hospital, I can move like I can't move in the institute. So one of the things I did, the last hospital stay I had, I did 2 at Kennesaw. The last one, I saw the nurse put her code in her phone and set it down at lock, but I got the code. I opened up the phone, changed the code, changed the Face ID. Now it's my phone. I stole it. With that phone, I booked my travel to Puerto Rico. I booked my hotel. I did all that with that phone. Now, the way I got out, they told me I was going to get out that Monday. I've been in since Thursday. I met with the doctor. I told him my story. He said, you shouldn't be in here. He was literally like, you're gone. You know, all we need is your ex-wife to say you're not a danger to yourself or others. I was like, bet, she'll do that. But see what I did, Gabriel, because I'm always thinking ahead. I didn't use my credit card for my travel. This is before I even knew they were going to call my ex-wife, but I just had a feeling about it. So I called her on the burner phone. I said, hey, give me your credit card to book the travel. And I said, the reason why is because if they have any questions about my sanity, why would you pay for me to go to Puerto Rico if I wasn't safe? See, I was spinning my own narrative with them. So anyway, they were supposed to talk to her. I was calling her all day. They never called. They never called her. Well, they ended up twisting her words when they finally called. Basically, they were trying to keep me there, right? So this is what I did. First of all, I got on the phone with a bunch of lawyers, and I was loud in front of them on the house phone to let them know everything they did. I got documentation. I'm about to show you all that before we get off the phone so I can verify everything. See, the other thing I did, Gabriel, I have a mind like a steel trap, but I wrote everything down. Bro, I was laying in the floor injured writing stuff down because I knew I needed those records. So watch this. The last day, I had already booked a ticket. I booked a $2,000 first class ticket to Puerto Rico at 4 o'clock. The flight was at 7:30. Check this out. By 5 p.m., and I was telling them I was going to Puerto Rico. I was letting them know what I was going to do. I knew they weren't going to let me out of there, so this is what I did. I told them I was severely malnutrition, which is true. I called the ambulance myself from the burner phone. They won't call an ambulance. I called it from the burner phone. Then I went in front of all of them that fell out on the ground, faked it, like I passed out. And I stayed on the ground. So then the paramedics showed up. Then I started devising my plan. So I have a security guy. I have several security guys, but I had a Samoan from LA. I was about to bring Samoan security to Atlanta because nobody in Atlanta has seen a 6'7", 350-pound Tongan. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't seen that. Y'all used to seeing black security. So I was going to mix it up with that. Well, I only had one at my house. There was 6 of them coming, but he was the only one there. So I was able to call my business partner in LA. He gave me his number. We know each other. I texted him and told him what I was doing. I gave him my location. I said, pull up at Kennesaw. I'm on the way. I said, pull up at Kennesaw emergency room. As soon as you see me in my diet, he's tracking me. I said, I'm jumping out this thing and getting in the car with you and going straight to the airport. So while I was talking to the ambulance drivers, I started unbuckling myself, but they didn't see it. It looked like it was still buckled. As soon as they opened that door, I jumped out. He pulled up, got in the black, and that's when I posted that video of me going to the airport. And then I hit him with the picture on the airplane. I made it. I was like this to the cops. Because see,
some John Wick movie.
yeah, man. And see, they're all following me on Instagram now. All the workers there know I'm on Instagram. So they're watching me. And I'm like, I told y'all I'm going to Puerto Rico. And it happened.
So that we're listen, we're late. It's 10 o'clock. Let me ask this last question. What's next for you? Like, where do we go from? How do we get? What's next for you?
Yeah, I'm just I'm here in Puerto Rico. I got people here. I got a couple businesses going. It's just going to take a little time for it to hit. You know, I'm setting it up. I'm investing in stuff. And all my businesses are generally nonprofit. So everything I do, I just try to give back to the community. The first part of my life, I took a lot of money. But God told me in the second part of my life to try to give it all away. But I noticed something, man. The more liberal hearted I am, the more people mess with me. And I don't get it. I'm just trying to give people stuff for free. Now, you know the law of reciprocity. When you do that, it all comes back to you. It all comes back. So for me, I'm chilling. You know, I'm really retired, but I'm just going to mentor. I got several people that I mentor. I'm not going to run the businesses. I just put my energy on the beginning, then I turn it over to my people. Now, when I turn a business over to somebody, because I make business owners, when I do it, all I ask them for is 10%, the top. I could ask for 50, but I just ask that they pay that tribute, 10%, like we do in the church. So that's all I'm doing. And I got people that want me to do speaking engagements, like talking like I'm talking now. I'm probably going to do that, but if I do it, I'm going to create my own platform. So I'm not going to let other people control the narrative. I'll just rent my own arena and do it like that.
Dr. Perry, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on the show. Tell us where we can follow you, where we can find you. Holler at us real quick.
All right, let me do this first. Listen, I want everybody that's watching. I don't know how many people tuned in. I don't feel like I was promoting it as well as I should, but let me say this. Everybody that's watching this show, this stuff is not free. This man, I just told another TV or, host that does what you do. I told her, I said, you always getting a bunch of Baptist preachers that don't nobody know who they are. And that's why your show sucks. Go pay somebody that's good. It's worth the investment and you'll make more money in the end. So Gabriel, Pastor Dr. Gabriel Powers is spending his own money to bring y'all content. So intellectual property is the most important thing in today's society. Don't let this man share all this information and me share all this information. You don't sew back into him. It's the right thing to do. He paid me to be on this show. I want to make sure he's taken care of. So y'all bless him. Look, if 1,000 people give $20, it's easy. Or, 100 of y'all give 100, whatever. Do that. Now, as far as me, I'm easy. Just check me out on Instagram. They changed my name. It used to be Dr. Shane Perry Sr. Now it's like Dr. Shane King Genius, but the way we spell genius is the pronunciation. So I don't even know how to spell it, but it's tatted on my neck. So, but if you look up Shane Perry, it's going to come up.
Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Shane Perry, y'all, show your love. Dr. Shane, thank you for coming on. He tatted, representing Ghana out here.
Let's talk about this. I'll come back on and we'll talk about this, okay?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Y'all, thank you for tuning in tonight, y'all. We'll see you Monday on Bandwidth.